Hey guys, what's up? It's Marco, and today I'm going to be reviewing Lego Batman. Let's get started. Now, a lot of people have been saying that the Lego Batman movie has been one of the best DC movies in a while, and one of the best Batman movies since The Dark Knight, and to some extent, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. The Lego Batman movie is probably the best character study of Batman since probably Batman Begins, and it's not a direct translation of the comic book Batman with all the beatboxing and rock and roll, because as we all learned from Batman Fortunate Son, Batman hates rock and roll music. But all jokes aside, the Lego Batman movie really understands Batman's vulnerabilities and isolation in his early years as the Caped Crusader. For the past 30 years, every serious Batman movie has tried to avoid Robin like the plague, and that's a shame, because Robin is so important to the Batman mythology and the psychology of Batman. He's a ray of hope, and he's Batman's one real chance at redemption, because crime in Gotham will never end. The crusade will never end. But if Batman can raise his kid, give him a purpose and a mission, then maybe he can give this orphan kid a chance, and he won't turn out as screwed up as Bruce Wayne's Batman. Now, the Lego Batman movie doesn't really go that deep into the Bat family. It plays pretty loose and fast with continuity, and usually I'd be pretty annoyed by that. I'm a really big continuity buff, but I kind of give this movie a pass because it is a Lego movie, and I'm alright with some of the changes. To me, this feels more like an Elseworlds story, but all the characters are Lego minifigures. And I didn't really mind the Barbara Gordon Bruce Wayne shipping all that much, since this is a different universe and Barbara Gordon is much older, and now she is the Commissioner of Gotham, and this is also the first time that they've actually met each other. And I'm a little bit bummed that the only reference to the Flying Graysons is like a passing mention of Dick Grayson's acrobatic skills. And you do get the sense that this character is based more on the 1960s Batman television show, and let's talk about that real quick, because the Lego Batman movie feels like an updated version of the 1966 Batman show. It has all the humor and campiness of the Adam West series, but with a modern day twist for all the little kids. There's plenty of butt jokes and slang to keep the kids' attention, but there's enough Batman references and enough really obscure references to keep the fans entertained. This movie takes place in a very weird, Grant Morrison-like universe where every single Batman movie and TV show has kind of taken place. Like, everything from the Super Friends all the way up to BVS is referenced. Some minor and obscure Batman villains show up, and throughout the movie they're spotlighted pretty well. And some past character quirks from past Batman movies, like Bane's voice from the Dark Knight trilogy, is mentioned. And Billy D. Williams reprises his role as Harvey Dent, but it's kind of a shame because he only gets like 2 lines in the whole movie, and that's a missed opportunity right there. And that's kind of my biggest complaint with the movie. There's a lot of missed opportunities. There's so many crossovers and cameos from Batman characters, DC characters, and Warner Brothers characters, and they're only kind of there in the background visually, but not used for any major purposes. It's either a visual gag or they're just standing around in the background, but there's nothing like in the forefront to really bring them out, and that's a shame. There's so many missed opportunities. There's cameos from The Wizard of Oz, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, even the Gremlins. The Gremlins show up in this movie, but they don't really do anything. They're just there, and that's sad. Like, I really love a lot of the cameos in this movie, but they're only there to just be there because Lego owns the rights to them right now. Heck, even the Daleks show up at one point, and all they really do is roam around and say exterminate, and that's kind of a missed opportunity right there. Like, how hard would it have been to call it Peter Capaldi and get like a recording of him as a doctor, and like, that just, as a Whovian and as a lover of pop culture, I'm just a little bit disappointed by a few of the missed opportunities in crossing over all these characters, but I'm sure like they'll just revisit this idea in a future Lego movie. Speaking of Lego movies, this movie stays very much in tone and theme with the previous Lego movie, and it carries over this theme of fathers and sons and the relationship between the two, and it does bring a few new things to the table, like the Joker's constant attempts at getting Batman to commit and to admit that they do have some kind of connection. He wants Batman to admit that the Joker is his #1 villain, and Batman is just like, nope, I don't want any ties to anyone, I don't want any connections, and it's just me alone, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I have no family, and I have no friends, and I have no enemies. It's just me fighting around with everyone. And that's where a lot of the best jokes come from. It comes from Bruce's inability to connect. He will not commit to Alfred, Robin, Barbara Gordon, not even the Joker. He's not going to admit that deep down he does care about the Joker, and that's kind of funny. I found that pretty funny, and all the kind of slight mentions and homages to romantic comedies from the 80s and 90s. Those are pretty funny. Something I kind of really got tired of really quickly in the movie was Will Arnett's Christian Bale Batman impersonation. That is a whole Batman behind. We're already in a new era of Batman, but we're kind of stuck making fun of Christian Bale's Batman voice still, and I feel like it's time to move on. We can totally move on from this and make some more BVS jokes or make some more Suicide Squad jokes, which they do in the movie. It's pretty funny. But this movie is seriously outshined by the 2014 Lego movie, and that's kind of sad. I mean, as a Lego movie, it's only second rate, but as a Batman parody, it's alright, it's pretty good. It's got the jokes, it's got everything you want, it's got the references, and it's got relationship and character dynamics that you'd really want to see, and I feel like every Batman that comes out now, or every Batman that's ever come out, is in some way a response to the previous Batman. I mean, Tim Burton's Batman is a direct response to the 1966 Batman. Joel Schumacher's Batman is obviously a very drastic response to Tim Burton's dark tone in Batman Returns, and Christopher Nolan's Batman is a realistic and grounded response to the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin movie, while Ben Affleck's Batman is a response and a kind of more comic book accurate Batman that can really hold his own with the Justice League, and you can really see that in the movies. And Lego Batman is really kind of the counter to all this. It is the response to all the darker Batman movies we've been seeing lately, and it's trying to take a lighter tone, but it's understanding the character to a certain degree. It's really bringing out the parts of Batman that other serious movies don't really take into account. The isolation, Batman's inability to connect with others, and his deep down desire to form a new family. And a lot of the Batman movies just miss that completely because they don't want to deal with Robin or Batgirl or Nightwing, any of the Bat family really, except for maybe Alfred. And the other movies, the so-called serious Batman movies, tend to not understand how very vital the Bat family really is to Batman, and they want to ignore it just because they feel like it's too silly or too campy, but it's a really vital part of the character. Lego Batman movie really gets that, and it works with it because this is a different kind of environment and they're free to play with whatever they want to play with because it's Legos, and that's their motto really. Altogether, Lego Batman movie, it's not as great as the original, but it is still a very superb Batman movie. It's a pretty good Batman comedy. If you are looking for that kind of thing, then you should definitely check it out. If you're not, maybe stay away from this if you want your Batman a little bit more serious. However, I'm still really excited and I'm looking forward to the new Nightwing movie directed by the Lego Batman's director, Chris McKay. Altogether, I think this movie deserves about 3 out of 5 stars. I'll definitely watch it again, but probably like a year from now. Maybe if the Justice League sucks, I'll give this another view and appreciate it a little bit more. But that's it, guys. That was my review of the Lego Batman movie, and I hope you enjoyed this week's video. We'll be back next week with more videos, podcasts, reviews. I hope you guys have a great week. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you haven't already, check out some of our previous videos. They're all pretty good. And if you like podcasts, you might enjoy some of our previous podcasts. We're just talking about whatever. Well, not whatever, but we're talking about comic book stuff and just going on weird tangents, and it's kind of fun. Alright guys, have a good one. I'll see you next time. Peace!